It's Govinda Singh, 1984. God Love 84 aria of OSNST Limited. So I'm just going to do a quick vlog. It's quite a serious vlog, and it's about the knife crime in Britain. Now I'm going to share my experience so parents and guardians and teachers can get an idea of what's going on. Now when I was little, I was oblivious to all the drug deals and all the violence. No, well, not really the violence, the drug deals that were going on around South. When we were little, we'd always hear police helicopters, and on my grandma's road, Hammond Road, there was always something going on where you'd see blue flashing lights at night time flashing through the window. But I was just oblivious to most of the things that were going on. I was just in play. When you're a child, everything's all playful and more innocent. Now as soon as I started getting older and I started listening to gangster rap, when I would hang around on the streets and start experiencing drug dealers and certain acts of violence, when you're a teenager, you're like this. It's just like America. We're like America. And you sort of get boosted, like what I'm listening to in all these gangster rap songs is happening on my doorstep. And then you start going around other people's areas, like from when you're from Southall, you go to places like Hounslow and you be like, you act the part, and you're like, yeah, there's a lot of rough things that go on in my town. Yeah, I'm from a rough area. So it's sort of like stripes when you go to other people's towns or you meet new people, whether it's in the workplace, and you sort of boast, yeah, I'm from a rough area, I'm from a rough area. But when you have an awakening experience, you have a crisis, and you have a soul-searching experience, you realise, you know what, actually, that's not fucking good. That's not something to be proud of. You know, it's like, that's not good at all. And so, what youth do, whether it's African youth, Asian youth, white youth, is they replicate and imitate what's going on in America. How to handle conflict, how to handle dispute. So if a rap song says this is what I'm going to do, this is how I'm going to handle a dispute, beef, and don't mess with me, and this is what I'm going to do to you, the listener, the vulnerable listener over here across the pond in the UK is going to be like, okay, and if that ever happens to me over here, I'm going to do the same thing. So they copy it. So to consciously make a decision, a choice, because we all have choices, to make a choice to turn your neighborhood into a horrible place to live out of your own choice, just because you want to copy how idiots over there in America handle dispute, that's not gangster. That's not gangster at all. That's pathetic. That is dumb. That is the dumbest thing you can do. Now in Britain, you do have similar situations that youth are facing, like for example African youth, black youth in South London, in various parts of London, East London. They live in tower blocks. They live in council estates, and that's known as public housing in America. And they're all congested and they're all close together like sardines in these tower blocks. And they're faced with similar discrimination, a poor start to life, and you know, so there are similarities. But what we have over here in Britain compared to what they have over in America, we've got so much more opportunities. I'm not saying there's no institutionalized racism. In parts of England, the racism is very, you know, still exists. And, you know, even though London's multicultural, there's still parts of London where it's dangerous to go for people of colour at certain times of the day because they'll be attacked by right-wing racists. So racism exists. But in parts of Britain where racism doesn't have any influence on the indigenous English population, the left-wing English population, you've got to look at what opportunities we have. Now we have housing, public housing, council estates, council housing, and I'm aware that in this recent time many of it's becoming private, which is a different discussion altogether. But we have bricked houses with plumbing, electrical wiring, tap water. Now, when you're from a South Asian community in India, Punjab, and in South, you have many people who are from Africa, various parts of Africa. This is so good that we have those things. When people are from Africa and India, they look at the opportunities and what the government provides for the population, and they're like, whoa, you actually do this for your people. So a lot of people from Africa, like the Nigerian barber in the barbershops in India, see that a lot of youth that are born and raised in Britain as second generation immigrants, third generation immigrants, are throwing away opportunities. You know, when an African from Ghana or Gambia or Nigeria comes over here, they're like, it's a council house, okay, the government provided housing, it's got water, it's got electrical wires, electricity, it's got plumbing. And if you want to go to education, if you can't afford to, if you're unemployed or on benefits, the government will pay for concessions, where they'll pay for your course. If you're unemployed, the government will pay for 3/4 of your housing benefit. It's like, wow. Parts of America don't have concession. If you've got a toothache, you can go in the NHS dentist and get your toothache seen to, or if you get hit by a car, have accident, ambulance will take you straight to the A&E in Britain. But in America, if you don't have health insurance or dental insurance, you're fucked. So we have so much more. So to make a conscious decision to turn your place, the place where you live in, into a horrible place to live just because you're copying America, because that's all it comes down to. You're copying America. And that's not gangster. This is Britain. We do things differently over here. We don't act, but we're more reserved. We're more reserved when it comes to handling our disputes and our conflicts. We talk more. Whereas America is, if you test me, I'll put a body, a motherfucker, I'll catch a fucking case and shit. It's like, that's dumb shit. And so, because the Zionist record label corporations only tend to focus on the detrimental side of hip-hop and market and sell that to the youth think that's cool and that's the way to handle things. But that's not gangster at all, man. That's not gangster at all. So over here we have a choice, and if you're making a choice that when you set out your front door you're going to hurt someone, you're going to take a knife and you're going to stab them just because you want a world star hip-hop reputation as someone around the neighborhood not to fuck with, not to mess with, the real reputation you're going to have is that was a dickhead, that was a prick. So what you got to do is you've got to really weigh up what you have. And so when we have these opportunities in these parts of London, we do have other obstacles and barriers and hurdles such as racism and discrimination, but we can fight that. So we need to make best of the opportunities that we do have. And so the youth need to stop making conscious decisions and making a choice to copy gangbangers in America to turn their neighborhoods into shitholes, because that's not gangster. That's not gangster at all.